Hi, welcome to Manas Shield YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 2, A Short-Lived Everyday Life. Rimuru visits Blumund Kingdom. Carrion's challenge was over. So then, what about Freesan? Freedono also defeated Adalman and the others. Quite handily, at that. Seriously, too unexpected. I was expecting Adalman and his team to win this game. I had thought Freesan would win in a one-on-one match, but that Adalman and the others would have the advantage in a 3-on-1 match. After watching the video, I understood why Freesan won. They were too incompatible. Yeah, that's right. Freedono's magic interference blocked Adalman's magic. The reason for the defeat was that this disrupted his offensive pattern and allowed Freedono to control the pace. Benimaru's explanation was correct. A circle of 50 meters in radius around Freesan had become an anti-magic area, blocking the movement of magicules. Because the interference wave was more powerful than that of the Charybdis, it had also blocked Adalman's Necronomicon. By the way, Freesan also had divinity. Since divinity seems to be a trait that can only be acquired by a spiritual life form whose lifespan has expired, it was no surprise that Freesan was able to compete with the ultimate gift. On the contrary, there was a possibility that Freesan might have acquired an ultimate skill. At this point, Adalman switched to Holy Magic, Holy Cannon as his main tool, but it was not a decisive move. The trouble was that Freesan could fly, so she was able to evade it with a flick of her wrist. She then closed in on Wenti, who was acting as a shield, and grabbed her with her claws. The trouble is Freedono's claws. They disrupt the body's magicules, so they are a monster's natural enemy. Once they grab you, it's like having all of your skills and magic blocked. Freesan's claws were definitely a mythical grade level of danger. Wow, if I didn't know better, I'd say I might have been in danger too. Hahaha, you're okay, right? In the case of Rimuru-sama, you can escape with clone. However, Carrion Dono also said it was impossible to escape from, so I'd be in trouble too. I just beat her, before she caught me, though. In Benimaru's case, that was probably true. But for Adalman and the others, it was impossible. Wenti was destroyed from the inside and left the battlefield. After that, Freesan changed her strategy to a long-distance battle. Since Adalman and his team's flight was blocked, they could only be attacked one-sidedly from above. Albert, impatient with this, leapt and aimed at Freesan, but that was exactly what Freesan wanted. The title of Sky Queen was not lost upon Albert, and he too was scattered in the sky. Thus, Adalman was the only one left, but he had no chance to win. Sadly, he was forced to defeat before Freesan. Freedono also moved on to the next opponent, which was a battle against Kumar. What was the result? They were almost evenly matched in strength, but Kumar is not divine. Besides, judging from the way she just fought, Freesan had quite a bit of combat experience. She had said herself that she was the weakest of the 10 demon lords, but it seemed that she was being modest. The cunning Freesan and the inexperienced Kumar. I thought it would be a good match, and I guess I was right. It was a great match. They fought for 3 whole days, and both of them gave it their all. I'd call it a draw, but the winner was Freedono. That was a great battle. I'll study the footage later. Yes, I learned a lot. The indomitable spirit to never give up on victory is important, but in the end, it's the intelligence that counts. When you have a strong opponent, it is important to mislead your opponent about your strength. The reason for Kumara's defeat was that she misjudged her opponent's remaining strength. I see, I'm looking forward to seeing the video. It was 3 days worth of information, so I'd watch it at several times the speed using thought acceleration. So, did Freesan challenge Zijin? If she was on par with Kumar, she was bound to lose. It seemed to me that Freesan, who had avoided a fight with Benimaru, would not participate in a fight with an obvious outcome. She was fighting Apido, not Zijin. Is that so? Yes. After all, she must have had her pride as someone of flight. She seemed reasonable, but she was surprisingly competitive. It was a good match, but Freedono won by a landslide. That's about right. If it was a good match, I should have congratulated Apido on her good performance. Anyway, now I knew what Freesan was capable of, and I could see what my friends had to work on. It must have been a shock for Adalman and his group, who had to suffer a series of defeats, as soon as they came back to our country in the middle of their work, but I hope they would be grateful that this was not the real battle and use this experience in the future. Also, I might have sold my debt to Carrion and Freesan. This was also thanks to Ramers, so I'd tell them to thank her later. I also thanked Ramers once again. Now, onto the real issue at hand. Then, I'll leave you in charge of Sarah and the others. Yes, sir. Well, let's see if they can get past Adalman and the others, shall we? I agree with you. Maybe Albert can handle it on his own. Just don't keep Adalman and the others around forever. Having just vowed to not let my guard down, I wouldn't be surprised if this prediction was wrong. But Sarah was no match for even Master Gatter. It would be difficult for him to get past Adalman and the others, I thought. And then later, that prediction proved to be correct. Sarah and his team decided to train with Apido instead of Adalman, and his team who returned to their work. After leaving Sarah and the others with Benimaru, I headed for the Blumund Kingdom, where Miles was waiting for us. The plan was to meet them there, and have them accompany us to the Ingratia Kingdom. I had been to Blumund Kingdom many times before, so I was familiar with it. Since we were not going into the city, there was no need to go through the barrier. We went to the outskirts of the capital, as if we were sightseeing. It was also the center of a big project. The world station was currently under construction, and workers from neighboring countries had been gathering there. Not far from there, in a prime location, the headquarters of the Four Nations Trade Federation was being built. Well, I'm pretty happy. It was a 10-story skyscraper over 30 meters high, which was rare in this world. While it was not as high as Millam's new castle, it was still one of the tallest buildings in this world. I had tried to elaborate on the design and use precious glass extravagantly. Of course, it was a tempered glass made of maca which was resistant to typhoons, earthquakes, and magical attacks. I had many other hobbies and interests, so I was very attached to this building. This was where we were meeting today, or rather, where we were planning to have a party to celebrate the new building. I was actually the owner of the building, but was treated as an invited guest. And now, I had finally arrived in front of the building. I would have liked to come and see the building when it was completed, but I had been so busy lately that I haven't had time. So, I left all the arrangements for the building's staff to Miles. It was hard work for me, but it must have been hard work for Miles too. Without Miles, I wouldn't be able to see this day. I knew that he was capable, but he also seemed to have a talent for charity. The representative of the Four Nations Trade Federation is Miles, but the head of this building was someone else. To my surprise, Verjord, who had recently been promoted to the rank of Viscount, was now Miles' subordinate. I was informed that he had been appointed as the general manager. I am honestly happy and relieved that Verjord has become my ally. I haven't forgotten the skill with which he deceived me, and I hope to see more of him in the future. I have heard that he has recruited several other talented people. He said he would introduce them to me at the party today, and I was looking forward to it. As usual, Saoi and I stand side by side, with Ranga in the shadows. We were dressed in formal suits today. I was wearing a 3-piece suit and Saoi was wearing a 2-piece suit. The color of the suit was gray for me, and black for Saoi. It was one that Shuna had tailored for us, using the now branded helmet thread. Since it was custom made, and not sold in the market, anyone who saw it would have noticed the difference in quality. The party wouldn't start until evening, so there were not many people. In spite of this, it was my charisma that attracted the attention of passers-by. Look at that guy, he's so handsome. Is it his brother? He's like a big brother protecting his little brother. The little brother is cute too, I can't wait to see what he becomes in the future. He's cool. There have been a lot of foreigners visiting these days, but it's still rare to see someone so cool. That's not the reaction I was expecting. I guess she was just interested in Saoi, not my charisma. I realized that I was being too self-conscious and felt a little embarrassed. Well, why don't we just go in and say hello first? I said so, trying to cover up my embarrassment. So, I went through the door to the reception desk. The first floor was a large floor like a hotel lobby, divided into a waiting area and a long room. Since I already knew the inside of the building, I proceeded without hesitation. Is Miles Khan here? As I called out to the beautiful receptionist, a pompous man dressed in a fashionable suit with a cigar in his mouth came out of the back room and stared at me suspiciously. And just who are you? Ah, I'm Rimuru. Can you tell Miles Khan that I'm here? I said so with a smile, though I thought he was arrogant despite his gentlemanly appearance. The receptionist, hearing my name, quickly changed her complexion and reached for the crystal ball. It was also a magic tool that allowed you to communicate with another crystal ball. The disadvantage was that it could only be used at a short distance, but it was the best item for inside the building. That response was just as I'd trained it to be, so I was content to watch. Suddenly, an important man stopped the receptionist. Gabana-sama, this person is, it's fine. I'll take care of this. No, I'm here. There are people who tell lies, in order to meet Miles-sama. There were also a lot of fools who tried to attend parties they weren't invited to, and well, it's not easy being famous. He doesn't understand much about that, so he needs good subordinates like me. You were unlucky too. If I hadn't been here, perhaps you would have succeeded. Ha, I see. What else am I supposed to say here? The receptionist seemed to know my name, but this gentleman, Gabana, didn't seem to know anything about me. No, maybe he did know me, but the face and the name didn't match. Judging from the situation, he didn't seem to be in charge of the reception. I wondered if maybe he was just a dirty old man who wanted to look good in front of this beautiful receptionist. Rimuru-sama. I will educate this man myself. Sae, who had been quietly losing his temper, glared at Gabana with steely eyes. Wait. Mayurmiles-kun is training him, so let's not let a few misunderstandings get in the way. Let's just be kind here, okay? In fact, Mayurmiles had probably refrained from picking us up because he was busy, but it turned out to be a bad idea. Gabana's pompous attitude may be questionable, but with so many unannounced visitors, this kind of reaction might be inevitable. As I was calming down the angry Sae, the receptionist shouted out, Gabana-sama. This person is the real deal. She looks exactly like the portrait on display in Mayurmiles-sama's room, there's no doubt about it. He has a portrait. I had noticed that he had one when I visited his house, but I didn't know he still had it. Mayurmiles sure was a strange man to display it so proudly. Well, the original Shizu-san was a beautiful woman. I can understand why one might be attracted to her, but my figure is that of an elementary school student. Well, now that I think about it, I've grown up. I was just under 160 centimeters, which is about the average height of a high school girl. I don't have much of a chest, but I might be beautiful in a portrait. However, I couldn't sit still, so I would have to ask Seal-san to take over the inside. I have no intention of becoming a model for a painting, though. As I was trapped in such an advanced level of thought, I heard Gabana's astonished voice. Well, what? You mean to tell me that this brat, this young master, is His Majesty Rimuru himself? Yes, I'm sure. No, isn't that crazy? Isn't he a demon lord? A king who controls such a vast territory is walking around with only one bodyguard. Just by using common sense there's no way, so how? That's also true. As Shuna said when we were on our way to Dworgen, we needed to behave in a way that was appropriate for our rank. I skipped it, because we didn't have much time at the time, but Shuna seemed to be unhappy about it. After all, I should probably be more careful in the future to avoid this kind of thing. I know that, but it's true. But would a demon lord just drop by the reception desk and casually ask, is Mayurmiles-kun here? You wouldn't, would you? Right. Gabana makes his case with tears in his eyes. If he admits this reality, he will be left with nothing but the fact that he tried to turn a demon lord away. In Gabana's position, he would desperately want to deny it. The gentleman's mask is off, and he's showing his true colors. I'm starting to feel sorry for him. I'm sorry, okay? It's not like I'm gonna call my subordinates over now. At your request, I can call in the stealth force. No, I don't want that. So, I'll just say, the Gabana-san was not at fault this time, and I'll drop the matter. Can you get Mayurmiles-kun on it? When I suggested this, Gabana's face lit up. Is that okay? Wouldn't that make both of us happier? As soon as I said that, tears welled up in Gabana's eyes. I don't know how he misunderstood, but he looked at me with sparkling eyes and said, thank you very much. I will never forget this favor. As for me, I felt a little uncomfortable, because I just wanted to cover up my mistakes as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.